obviously every offseason when there is nothing to talk about, ESPN helps us out by ranking the top players of whatever position. They do this every year, right?
Yeah.
They have started to do that with NFL football. They came out with running backs, defensive tackles, edge rushers, safeties, tight ends, interior offensive linemen, offensive tackles. And then today they dropped their quarterbacks top 10. Obviously, it's super easy to kind of go through that and get our views on it. But let me go through them real quick. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Burrows. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Matthew Stafford. Number 6, Justin Herbert. Number 7, CJ Stroud. Number 8, Aaron Rodgers. Number 9, Jared Goff. And number 10, Dak Prescott. What are your boys' thoughts? Like, do any of those rankings stick out to you and make you go,
All right, Gabe, I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to see if you agree with me on kind of my
I have one that I don't disagree with him being top 10, but it's like that high?
Yeah, so a couple things. Joe Burrow at 2 feels a little bit like too much, and I mean, I read it this morning, so I understand what they're saying. Joe Burrow, when he's been on the field, has been incredible. He was one play away from, winning a Super Bowl in his second season, all these different things. And then they put Josh Allen at 3 and Lamar Jackson at 4. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Josh Allen is incredible. I think he has the most touchdowns in the league since he entered the league, but they want to harp on his turnovers and decision-making, which I get that. It's a weak point for him. But I don't think Joe Burrow should have been 2 or 3. I think he should have been 4. I think he should have been behind Lamar and Josh Allen in whatever order you want to flip those. Also, Matthew Stafford at 5 is a little
That's
strange.
what I'm like, buddy.
Matthew Stafford at 5 is strange. Aaron Rodgers at whatever
9.
He was, 8 or 9. Was he 8 or 9? 8. Strange. This one is probably going to be the most unpopular one, but I'll give my opinion on it. I think Justin Herbert at 6 is ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. Like, I understand he's probably the most talented quarterback in the league, but what has he done to be number 6? And y'all are going to call me a homer for this, but let me lay it out there. Dak's at 10, Herbert's at 6. And their reasoning for Dak being at 10 is because in crunch time, when it matters, he doesn't show up. Okay, I get that. Justin Herbert's 30-32 in his career. He has a losing record in his career.
To be fair, I'm not gonna go after you for your thoughts on Justin Herbert, but I think that you need to add context to every situation.
Of course.
Justin Herbert, since he came into the league, people don't realize this, he has the second most go-ahead or game-winning drives in the league since he came into the league.
Yeah.
The reason that he doesn't come through in the fourth quarter, that's how he's viewed, is because he has to do it every single game.
And that's fair.
Playing for the damn Los Angeles Chargers. And this is the other stat that throws me off about Justin Herbert. Through his first few since he came into the league,
4 years,
his offense set the record for most points in that span. His defense also set a record for most points given up in that same span. So it's like, I think when you look at a list like this, and think about it, it's execs, it's scouts, it's coaches, all ranking their top 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
When you look at his statistics and you look at his age and the upward trajectory he could have, would I start my franchise with this guy?
But that's not what they're ranking
on the field to show me that he's an elite quarterback. I think he's done that.
That's not what they're ranking on. Aaron Rodgers is 8 and Matthew Stafford is 5, and those are the 2 oldest quarterbacks in the league.
I'm not saying that's what they're ranking on. They're also ranking it on statistics he's put out there. They're ranking it on, can he make the throws? Can he show up every Sunday, throw for 300 yards, few touchdowns? Yes, he can do that.
Yeah.
There's been some really good quarterbacks that have been stuck in bad situations.
But then I would turn that around and ask y'all, if that's the case, then how can CJ Stroud be number 7 after 1 year? right?
Because that year was
awesome. One of the best rookie years ever for a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. I think he's a phenomenal player, but aren't they kind of projecting out with him instead of like?
No, I don't think they're I mean, a little bit, yes, you have, because it's only 1 year, but I mean, you're not really projecting anything. I mean, you're looking at a quarterback who took care of the ball, was accurate, got upgrades at weapons, like all these things.
Yeah.
I know people are going to say the sophomore slump, and it's 1 year, you got to prove it. But if you line them up and you're not saying, who am I taking for the future? Because I don't really necessarily think that's what this is.
I think it's like a overall question. However you view it, whatever your semantics around top 10 quarterbacks.
Exactly.
That's what you're voting.
It's like, okay, project them out. Who do you want for the season? Project them out. Who do you want for a game? Project them out. Who do you want for a career? Like whatever basis you use, it's hard not to put CJ Stroud up there.
I think he can put himself into like, if he comes out this year and puts himself in an MVP race, which let's not fool ourselves, part of last year he was in the MVP 100%. Race, like very much in it.
100%.
If he does it again this year, like we might be talking about this guy as a top 5 guy easily going into next year.
Yeah, easily.
But I get what you mean. It's been 1 year and everything went so well. Okay, let's see him do it in his second year, and then I'll throw him in the top 10. I get it.
It's not crazy to think about because you look at this list of the top 10 quarterbacks, and it's not that impressive after 4, in my opinion. Like after the top 4, it's not really impressive. You can here's how I judge that. After the top 4, you can take those next 6 and flip them anyway, and I probably wouldn't argue with you.
Yes. Now here are the honorable mentions, and this is I want to play a game. Most likely and least likely to break into this list going into next year.
Okay. That's a good
so you
game.
got Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Tua, Kirk Cousins, and Trevor Lawrence. Most likely, least likely to hop into the top 10 by this time next year.
It's so hard because I've got 2 that I really want to go with, and I think
I have most likely for me.
I've got 2. I'm going to do 2 most likely, and if you make me choose one, I will. But I got 2 most likely, and I think both of them will be in that top 10 next year. I think it'll be Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. I think they'll both be in there.
I think that's fair. I was going to say Jordan Love without question. Yeah, I fucking love that guy, man. Too. He's so good at football. He really is.
I do too. And you just look at San Francisco. Like San Francisco's not going to stop. They're not going to slow down. They've got all the weapons in the world outside of like something happening with Brandon Ayuk, whether he holds out or they trade him. If they've got their full repertoire, Brock Purdy.
I know what you mean. I get what you mean, but then the conversation for a lot of these guys is like, okay, Jordan Love's doing it with Romeo Doubs,
exactly,
and a hurt Christian Watson.
100%. I would definitely take
Brock Purdy's got everything.
I'm definitely taking Jordan Love over Brock Purdy, but I think both of those guys will be in the top 10 next year.
Can I be completely for real with you? Completely down. It's going to be hot take for people. Least likely to be in this top 10 going into next year. I guess you could throw the old guy Kirk Cousins in there, although I think he'll have a good year. I'm sorry. I think Trevor Lawrence is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the National Football League.
100%. If you would have let me go first, that was 100%.
That's least likely. I think he's going to have another year like he did last year, which was thoroughly average. Go look at the tape. Go look at the stats. As average as a quarterback could play, that was Trevor Lawrence last year.
And it's probably gonna get worse.
Right.
I mean, I know they added Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis, but they lost Calvin Ridley, who opened everything up for that passing game last year.
Yeah, but Brian Thomas, straight line speed, big guy, deep threat. We'll see how that all translates. I mean, Gabe Davis, like, come on. He was never what the Bills actually wanted him to be. No. Do we expect him to be what he's supposed to be with the Jags? Hell no.
No.
And then Christian Kirk, I guess, is still there for him. But
right. He's still got Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, but those are underneath possession guys. He doesn't, in theory, have anyone to really take the top off the defense consistently like Calvin Ridley could have. So I'm 100% in lockstep with you on Trevor Lawrence on that one.
Yeah. All right. So if you do that, if you add those 2 guys in, Jordan Love and who was the other one that you mentioned?
You said
Brock Purdy. You said Brock Purdy.
Who do you take out?
If you add Brock Purdy and Jordan Love, you got to take 2 out of that top 10 from this year. Who's out?
Aaron Rodgers is out.
Wow.
And based on what you said about Herbert, I don't know.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not a Herbert hater. I think that a lot of people crown him too much. I think he gets too much credit. Not that I don't think he's incredible, because he is, but I think he gets too much credit. The only reason I would potentially go Herbert, though, is because he has nothing.
No one to throw to, and they're going to run the hell out of the ball.
He has nothing around him.
What do you mean, Quentin Johnston? You ain't a Quentin Johnston fan? Come on.
No.
One of the worst rookie years for a first-round wide receiver we've ever seen.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers 100%, and then the other one, I mean, it could be Dak. It could be Dak. It could be Stafford, and it could be Herbert. Those were the three you kind of got to throw it up against, because Stafford, can he stay healthy? If he is healthy, he's probably productive because he's still got Kyron Williams. They added Blake Corum. They still got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. It's hard to see him falling off too much unless it's just physical ability or injury.
We've been waiting for his elbow to just explode for the last 3 years.
Herbert, it's kind of easier to see a path where he doesn't put up the same numbers because, I mean, who's he throwing to? Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey. Doesn't really have a repertoire of weapons to throw to.
His tight end is a blocking tight end, Will Dissly.
Right, Will Dissly and Donald Parham. Like, he doesn't have much there either.
Oh, he's got Hayden Hurst. I forgot about
that. Oh, yeah, they did add Hayden Hurst. You're right. And then Dak, it's just like, okay, are they going to be able to run the ball? If not, do you get what you got last year, or do you get what you got 2 years ago? It's just kind of up in the air for all three of those guys. One of those, but definitely not. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers having an incredible season. Could be wrong. Could eat crow on that. He could come back and win another MVP for all we know. But it just.
Well, but he was in. Well, I mean, this is a guy who was missed mandatory minicamp because he had a predetermined date to go to. He went to Egypt. He was on a vacation in Egypt.
Right.
It's like, when mandatory minicamp's coming up, you jackass.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, why did you schedule an Egypt trip right over it?
True. All right. Well,
all right. Real quick.
Yep.
Who is the number one? I think you've seen it, Christian. Gabe, have you seen who the number one ranked running back is? Top 10? Who do you think it would be?
Christian McCaffrey. Got to be.
Okay. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey. It's kind of an interesting list. Number 2, Breece Hall. What do y'all think?
So fair.
Fair? Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna push back too hard, but damn.
Nick Chubb, number 3.
That's who I thought would be number 2, but he's coming off injury.
Saquon Barkley, number 4.
Fair.
Jonathan Taylor, number 5.
Okay. I can rock with all those.
And they got Bijan Robinson, number 6.
I just think Breece Hall, that just hearing him at number 2 just
it sounds crazy.
But if you watch him play, he can catch a ball.
Touch basis with nothing around him, he has been unstoppable with nothing around him in his 2 years.
And he does it all too.
Yes, receiving, blocking, running the ball. Like he's incredible.
He did it off injury too. You have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.